manga.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Adjacent with Jace, the tabletop interview and review show for the Adventures of Authority, brought to you by the Black Tower Stories. I am your host, Jace. And with me today, he recently found himself away from the target, not close enough for melee. A lack of speed is a regret. Feeling a bit down, he paid for the toll for our travel. On these ships, it's my goal for his background to unravel. Though it hasn't happened yet, give it time and he'll succeed. He'll keep pushing all in on the bet to a victory he'd need. Hello, A-Aron.
Hello, Jace.
McManger.
Yes, but I'm not placing a bet for all the Fae contract holders out there. There's no bet being placed.
There's
for anything.
Hint of mine. Well, welcome, A-Aron, to the lovely abode of the Sweet Nut Manors adjacent with Jace Tavern, with today's special being hardtack. There were other options.
Excellent.
There were other options, but you chose that, no matter what. 1 second. Okay. Alright, I'm back. Well, we got a lot of questions and stuff set up for you today. We have
yes.
One thing we got coming up tonight is the 2 truths, 1 lie, where we'll finally, I don't think you've done one of those, so.
I did one for Gander, which I did. I
all
was
lies.
off the maybe.
And we've got a lot of questions. Not a lot of stats have come up because we recently just beat up on Well, Volred beat up on a lot of things. And then the
Did
rest
he
of
really beat up though? He
Shut
just kind of
it.
like absolutely
I was
eviscerated.
I was looking at the rules for Assassin like, is that really how it? Yeah, because what it would
It didn't
happen
act,
it because
and then it didn't act
we
again.
kind of go with the surprise rules for this. Like technically, they all would have been surprised during the first round of initiative, so he gets the attack, and then he was top of the initiative for the first one, so he would have been perfect. Like that would have actually happened. The double assassination. We have that first question in here though. On a scale from 1 to 10, how mad was Eric when Volred crit that dude? Also, what is the angriest you've seen him get while DMing? That I would put that as probably it's not really angry. It was a realization of his mistake at like a 7. Like he's like, ah, fuck, this isn't gonna work.
That was a 5. I think angry. I think that's a 5. A frustration would be like a 7 or 8.
I would put that right up there where he realized he critted his own monster with his own NPC
Yes,
paladin. Like his frustration was like, oh no.
yes. And truthfully, I don't think I've seen him get mad. It's just more like he did. It was an unforeseen consequence to a decision he made, and he was like, "Oh well."
Yeah, I would say he's a mad person. He'll get real frustrated in a situation that he's typically put himself in because he hasn't read into the situation. One example I have of it, we were playing in a one shot for Ari, and he had taken the Skulker feat, which when you fire a weapon and you miss, it won't reveal your location whenever you're hidden. Well, he had misinterpreted it and thought that even when you hit, you'd still be unseen. Also, he was attacking with magic, so neither one of those worked for the Sculptor feat, which is the first example, as we rubbed it into his face, that he doesn't know how stealth worked. So, he was frustrated in that situation. Because he had that whole build up for it, and then he realized, oh, none of this works.
But now we have to figure out how to kill for Volred HP pool sized.
Well, it'll be the way he avoided Caleb. Things will be immune to being asleep, or things will no longer be surprised. In reality, our party's not that stealthy. We rarely stealth in on anything. This thing, they just happen to be distracted from stuff way far away.
Yeah.
And it's really a good thing that Volred killed that Umber Hulk, because Umber Hulks are not good within do not fight them within 30 to 60 feet. Because their eyes are a monster version of the confusion spell. If you make eye contact, much like with really anything that, like a basilisk, if you see it, it will be under a save against confusion, and then you'll either spend your turn doing nothing, running off in a random direction, attacking the closest thing to you, just going prone, those kinds of things. So an Umber Hulk is, when in combat, is a real pain in the butt.
And then you have to deal with the giant hands and the sailing mandibles.
Oh, yeah, they hit pretty hard, but it's their confusion ability that lets them mitigate numbers. But if you kill them on the first round, there's not really a number issue.
And then it's just clean up whatever buffer creatures were there.
Those things probably could have been a little stronger, but they're not really that type of creature. So I'm a little curious on what we'll have to face in the future. I don't think we'll run into a situation where Volred is one-shotting things. Well, really two-shot. But that's kind of what the assassin does. They assassinate.
And the DM, I think the DM made Grimlock sound a lot scarier than they look like. I looked them up. They're really ugly. He made it sound like their skin was sagging off their bodies.
It was gross.
Yeah. They got no chin.
Hey.
Or sorry, they have 8.
kind of
but it's
a nice
pretty
little rate.
flat against their body. Yeah.
Things will just be immune to sneak attack damage.
Yep. Can't make things immune to
Like
smite.
like
Actually, you
Volred,
can.
they're immune to radiant damage. There you go. Volred excited to use that piercer feat. Doesn't really come into play when you're dishing out 60 something points of damage though. But, yeah,
Rolls max
reroll that
damage,
D8.
just like
Although I don't want to look it up because if I pull any pages up, it's going to slow down my computer. But doesn't the piercer feat let you, like, if you roll a natural 20, do an attack against the creature behind it as well? So I'm not sure. That might be a magic item I'm thinking of.
you get an additional damage die.
Oh, there you go.
So it should have been more damage.
Yeah, so there you go.
2d8
Because
more.
he did roll a
2d8 more
natural
damage.
20 on the second one, I think.
Correct.
Question for both. What do you think would happen if the party went into water? Wrong answers only. They would. Most of them would drown, and the other ones wouldn't.
Well, so before I give my answer to what would happen to us, the DM described the water as maybe like shin deep but fast moving. It wouldn't carry you off, but someone could hold you under and probably drown you. Um, so wrong answers only. If we went in the water, my socks would be dry.
And I mitigated that whole situation by becoming a big person. So
Bigger than the river.
there you go. Well, no problem. Oh, the Umber Hulk is so big. Let me take care of that. But then it died. Took all the fun. Oh well. On to
It
some
happens.
questions that I've got set up for it, just in case we need them. What are your thoughts? Hold on. Oh, that's a different question. They all kind of start the same. All right. This is my typical one I've asked a few times. Since you've been Kelmac, I haven't gotten you to ask this one. If your character was cast in a movie, who would play it? This is assuming they're CG.
CGI?
Yeah.
Liam Neeson.
Oh, crotchety old man. Sure.
No, like Obi-Wan sounding.
I'm thinking more of what was it when he goes hunting down those people?
Taken.
Taken, where he's just kind of that gravelly voice in those ones. That's yeah.
I guess that's what I'm shooting for, the more gravelly.
Yeah. On to the next question. How are you liking Paladin? This is your, I would say, daily check-in, but it's more like a couple month check-in.
We haven't actually. I think any fighting we've done, I haven't really been able to get into, so I haven't been able to get into the smitey part of Paladin.
There were those rangery assassins we fought. That killed Lord's family.
I killed one.
I'll point out you have the same amount of kills as Yandere.
Well, we are both also very new.
Yeah.
But I have one kill, but I do have one capture. That did catch one of the guys.
Sorry, that's not a stat we keep track of, though.
Oh, damn.
So you liking it? You finding that it's a real pain in the butt having to answer Eric's questions about why you're a paladin and not a fighter with magic?
No, I figured those out.
Oh.
Those were a pain in the butt to begin with, but I figured them out.
Okay. So no idea of switching classes?
No.
Writing off this character?
I don't think there would be any way to thematically class switch with the morals I put forward.
That in mind, do you have a backup character in mind in case Kelmac doesn't
Yes.
work?
Yes.
Okay. Is it another paladin?
No.
Okay. Get more into that once your character dies for some reason.
It lives in a city that y'all been in.
Okay. We've been to a lot of cities, so that
Yes.
doesn't narrow it down at all. On to
It's
my
game.
next question, though. This one comes from Kilmo that he sent me. What did I miss?
What did he miss?
Yeah.
Um,
We replaced you, Kilmo, with just a statue. We dressed it up like a wizard.
we caught some dudes. Izal, is super fast, super fly. Tried to RKO someone off a cliffside. Um, there's a cult that is trying to kill Volred's family, which we are going to find. We did a quest, found a lake. Hole had a lake had a hole. No, hole had a lake in it. Sure, let's go with that. Lake had a hole in it.
It's not a cult.
From yeah, it's not a cult. There's a lake with a hole in it that dried up a town. We've
In the bottom of the sea.
at the bottom of the sea in the bottom of the world. Izal fixed the situation, but the dwarves who made the tunnel that broke the lake are going to fix it, like good noodles.
Okay. There you go, Kilmo. Now you know. Or you could just watch the episodes. On to my next part here. Splitting the money. Where do you stand on this? If they're not there for any portion of it, should they get a split of the money? I've said my stance. You literally aren't there for any part of it. You don't even know it exists.
I, as a player, know there are circumstances that happen. If this was an in-person thing and the circumstances were different, I would have advocated for not splitting the reward. So I think it is circumstantial.
Oh, it's circumstantial, but my circumstance is if he was not involved in the quest in any way, doesn't know that it exists, his character's literally not involved, I don't think you should split with them because they did nothing. In fact, some of the quests we're doing are because he's not available. But if he were there at the very beginning, like we're going to this quest, he's going with us, or even then he has to bow out, he was there for the initial part, and then we would split it with him. But because this situation is...
But because he was not with us from
it would
Kyosa
it would
to
be the
Coruscant.
same as us paying Gorbeck or Gander or Arthur, because they had the literal same amount of input.
I understand.
Rav's like, I agree with you. Okay. Also, it's not the first time we have not split the reward for something in this party because the rest of the party wasn't involved. I don't... Selling is a strong word. I like to think of,
Wander?
we make deals. As a fake person, you should appreciate a good deal. And all he's doing is, like, sending my mail out for me. That's not really... I'm not getting much out of this. If anything, I'm hurting the party by giving him magical books to get corrupted by. Anyway, on to my next question. Is there a rule in D&D that you do not like? And is there something that you wish was a rule that kind of is helpful?
A rule I do not like. Actually, I don't like The uh, perception roll.
So you don't like
I
the
liked.
chance of perception rolls to find something.
I liked uh, uh, the listen check and the sight check.
Okay. That's fair. But those are still perception checks.
Yes, but I liked them being separate. Now, granted, uh, someone could be able to have proficiency in both uh, if those were independent skills. Um, but I think that makes people too good at perceiving everything. River, being a really good example, had a crazy perception. Um, hold on, I can pull it up real quick.
Passive is like a 29.
Yeah, I think that's much too crazy. Uh, and that all came from a feat, really, that let him read lips. So that was sight, not hearing.
What was observant?
Yeah.
Wow, he could. The DM can easily just give you disadvantage for something with hearing, or say, give me a perception check. And the observant one gives you advantage. Doesn't give you advantage. It just gives you the +5 on passive. So it's something you can pick up on. If he's going by your passive perception for something you might hear, he can easily just ignore the +5. But that's assuming
Well,
the DM's going to do that.
off the top of my head, that's the only thing I could think of quickly. So I'm not sitting here like a flight, like a pilot going,
I don't have a major issue with D&D except for it is hard to find the rulings for things. Like, I want to know how hard wood is on a door. What's the AC to hit a door?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I
what's
think that's in the DMG.
It's all the stuff's in the DMG, and it's not organized very well. So my main
Yeah.
issue isn't rule set. It's not organized. It's hard to find. So,
You know what?
So a lot of people just assume there isn't a rule for it. The reality is no one knows where to look for. There are rules for a lot of stuff. There's no one looks it up.
You know, the perception thing is actually fine. Me having to capture somebody, I want to know, are there rules for tying somebody up?
It would be probably a 10-minute check, though, I think. There are probably rules for it. But again, it's not that easy. It's either going to be in Xanathar's or the DMG. Those are the only two that have the major rules for it.
Yeah, I think that's what I've seen a lot is that, like, people want to arrest somebody, but, like,
Doing
what's
it
the
with
rule?
rope, I assume, would be difficult because you're having to literally tie them up to a point where they can't wiggle themselves out. My way around that is I used to always have manacles on me, which I need to go buy some. Those are always really handy. Kelder had some.
I think they question how hard is it to get the manacles on somebody.
Not hard compared to tying someone up with a rope.
Yeah.
Also,
Well,
it's
looks like
tying someone up while they're conscious and they're trying to not let you tie them up is probably really hard.
yeah. Well, time to get Kelmac pair of manacles.
Yeah. Everyone has manacles. Just some nice manacles. Always
They're
nice.
running away. Grapple, manacles. No?
No. On to another question here, because we don't really have a lot of disagreements on rules, unlike Eric, who hates the rules for D&D.
Well, he runs it, so.
He can hate the rules all he wants. What would Gander and Kelmec's reaction be to each other?
I think kind of the same thing everyone else had to gander. Why do you want to stay inside? There's a whole world to explore. Uh, and Gander reacting to everybody else. Why would you leave the guild that you can accrue um, favor with, and you know, build up repertoire there a in the safety of your home with your family and such other. Why go out and do this?
Well, either way, they're both poor. Gander's a shut in. So, on to the next question. Alright, let's go with if you had to choose a character to switch with for the session, so you're running that character as you have to like play as them, who would it be?
Caleb,
Why Caleb?
because really just researching certain rituals on whatever he and that evil ghost book is planning.
So you would switch with Caleb just so you could also be evil?
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
But also so I can like cast sleep in Greece and all these other non-glass cannony spells and do fun things.
Sounds like you just be a wizard next time you play. Alright, we have
Could
another
play
question in. This one was from Kilmo earlier. Has the Night Terror episodes calmed down, or have we just not been around for them?
They've calmed down. Um, the Kiosa was an episodic uh, part, which I'm leaning into because that's why I treated the lady so bad
The
in the
what?
church.
Oh,
The
okay.
church lady. Why I was such a douche.
Ah, okay. I thought just who you were.
No, and being what's the word? Candid. I was going for a more edgier feel, but I realized that is I would not be comfortable playing that.
It didn't really come off as edgy. It just came off as
It was
just being
asshole.
an asshole to this poor woman
Yeah.
who's doing her best to help people.
Yeah. Which there are people who enjoy playing that. I am not one of those.
All right, so on to my next question here. You did mention you don't plan on class switching, but what about multi-classing? If you are planning, any thoughts about it? What would you multi-class into?
Um, if I'm multi-classed, maybe Warlock, a
Padlock?
padlock,
Those are pretty neat.
it's all charisma
You could
all the
finally get
time.
a good ranged attack.
Guiding bolts pretty good. 46.
Yeah.
I'd have cantrips though. I'd have cantrips.
You can technically have cantrips as a paladin too.
No. Yeah, I think you have to get a feat.
It's a fighting style.
Oh,
I think it's Holy Warrior or something.
I can look it up later.
So you would multi-class in Warlock? That's pretty okay. Lucky
I think
you.
Warlock.
I like Warlock too. That's why I try to multi-class into it all the time.
I mean,
They're so
the
cool.
little the magic sugar baby
Sugar,
gifts you get,
Sugar Daddy.
the magic sugar daddy gifts you get are pretty neat. Like, because you can get one that lets you breathe underwater.
Uh,
It's like, you can't cross that moat. Jumps directly in. Oh no. Well, he's been down there an hour, so.
Secret Tunnel.
Just what do you go down with? A shovel?
Yeah.
just slowly with water resistance.
Trying to figure out what Rab's trying to say in this comment. Jace would give it away. I don't. Oh, a warlock gift? Oh, okay, I get it. That's because I gave away the decanter of endless water. I get it. Really, I'm coming into the negatives after this last quest, so it's just.
But that was really nice of Izal to
He's
give
also a
up
nice
the.
person. Doing good things across the world. Boom, roasted. Yeah, totally got me there. We could just wait for someone to try to assassinate your dad again and we save them and I'll just get another one, I guess. He doesn't apparently care about that. On to the next question. This is some quick classes and race combinations. What is your favorite class?
Everyone knows my favorite class.
Is it fighter?
Yes.
Is your white bread?
It's fun. He's fire. Yeah. Stay with his father for unlimited water.
Like that rhyme though. That's pretty good. You can earn another decanter. Save my father for unlimited water. It's very good. Good work. What is your favorite race you can play? Because I've only really seen you play as cat people. I don't want to assume. That'd be rude. And the halfling.
Well, seeing as how everyone is kind of on the even with the stat bonuses now, I was looking some over, and I think Hobgoblin has become my kind of favorite.
Hobgoblin's pretty nice. It's got some neat
Yeah,
abilities and stuff.
yeah, that Fey ancestry and Fey gift is pretty neat. I didn't realize they were made into the Fey.
Oh, that must be new or part of a different book. I like the
Uh,
bugbear.
the extra reach and
The reach.
stealthy.
Got a stealthy, sneaky attack thing in there.
Yeah, long limbed, powerful build, sneaky surprise attack.
Yeah. And it's just a giant creature. You can have. I like.
Oh, they got Fey ancestry now too.
Yeah, I think that was one of the changes that came in the new Mordenkainen that came out. They
Yeah,
changed up a bunch
Monsters of the
stuff.
Multiverse. Almost like everything is Fey if it's not like if it's not gnome, halfling, dwarf, or human, it's Fey
Some
or tiefling.
Fey ancestry.
Yeah, or orc.
I like dwarves.
I'm a little dwarf and short and stout.
Not really. Dwarves aren't even my favorite race. I like playing dwarves because I have a history with them. Like the
Yeah.
favorite one are usually like the really big, like the Goliaths are fun. All the ones that give cool, nifty ability, like the bugbear. That's a fun one.
I played a Goliath once.
They're cool. You can
It died.
well, don't do that. Play something better. I've played a human, another human, some dwarves, bugbear.
But in my defense, when I started playing, I did have a point where I went through a lot of characters and they were all human fighters.
You are the statistic.
Listen. It was 3.5 human fighters, though. It was 3.5 human fighters.
Human fighters back then were still your basic one because they got those bonus feats and stuff.
Yeah. You know what? if I couldn't play Gander is my backup. Gander is the backup.
Gonna wrestle him out of retirement.
Yeah. If I couldn't play Gander, I think I would play a something ranger. Maybe a
Rangers are fun.
hobgoblin ranger.
Rangers are fun.
Everyone shits on rangers though, because they're like, just play a dex fighter.
I do it just out of the memes for it, but
Spite.
it I that's what Ranger Rick. He's a ranger, and he's very
And the
effective.
swarm keeper.
He's an
Yeah.
effective ranger. He's not really great, but he's just kind of effective.
Yeah. Hunter ranger is surprisingly
Oh, they deal tons of
good
damage.
for, yeah. And they get some spells. Are their spells great? But
That's not the point.
it's the point of the flavor.
The
And you
flavor.
have to be in their favorite terrain.
Rangers are cool.
Rangers cool. Go Rick.
Yeah, let's go save the trees. On to my next question. It's past the 30-minute mark. Let's dig into this two truths, one lie.
You want to choose one line?
Yeah, don't tell me which are which, because it's our job to determine which ones are which by our assumptions of you. Now, I don't have any two truths, one lie set up because I've ran out of things to talk about. As I just tell you, if you have a question, ask me and I will tell you. And it will be true.
Kelmac knows how to dance. Kelmac enjoys his armor. And Kelmac is embarrassed that his siblings are successful. And I have on the siblings. So, next session.
I'm going to find out how successful they are. I think we can prove the dancing one. The other ones are harder to prove. Again, I don't have any two truths, one lie, so those are pretty good.
I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah. Not like when Eric does it, where he tells us we're all fucked because we're surrounded by monsters all the time. Like a cheater. On to my next question. I would like you to tell us who Kelmac is. Like, what drives him? What is... He became an adventurer. He was a former soldier. He was brought in as he lost his own. What is his goals to keep going? Why has he come and joined our group? What are the reasons? How do I piss him off more?
Like how he would have treated the like he treated the priestess lady, telling him like, "Why are you doing this? This is pointless." Like telling him that the reason for his adventuring is worthless because he is doing this to find the reason for being, because he went to fight. He could find no reason to stay in fighting. He went with a group of people who he had long interacted with. He knew them, and there was no progress in life. It was just do the same things we normally do, day after week after, until the world exploded and his party group all died, and he managed to survive. And so he's come to a completely unknown area, and I don't like that I whipped out that he's looking for Azella to have an adventure. I think stumbling upon you is a much better excuse.
I think you probably used that as an excuse when you came up
Yeah.
with it. Like, Yeah, this would pass. This won't uh, cause any
Yeah,
questions.
like I'm gonna be real. Like that was an excuse. I didn't really have anything on the immediate to give an answer on why I'm adventuring.
When in doubt, blame a Zella. That's how we get in trouble for shit. So,
Why did that? So y'all were on the other side of the world, right? Yeah. Why did that mountain fall over? Zella did it.
hmm, I can't argue with that. It's solid logic. We probably had something to do with it in our luck.
Someone investigates. A dwarf crawls out from under the mountain. It's a Zella. Just,
I know what you're gonna say, and I just need to let you know I was framed.
but yeah. I think a lot of the reasons I gave for why Kelmac is adventuring in the very beginning were very excuse riddled, and that's why they were very weak. Weak sauce.
It's because he was looking for an excuse. He wanted a reason to get away. He wanted something to do, and he wasn't quite sure what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. He might have made it up on the spot, but that seems like Kelmac made it up on the spot because he didn't really have a reason. He didn't have a surefire point for what he was doing. He was looking for a point, and maybe he found it. Who knows? Let's get into character building. What is the first thing you do when you're building a character? Is it you want to have a concept of this is a trope or a build I have an idea for, or is it this is a character who acts this certain way? How can I play this in a game? And this is the build I'm going to slap onto it.
So I may look at character creation concept as in a bad RP way. I look at a thematic mechanic character. How can I get this idea of how this character would look and fight and how they would operate in the world? And how do I get them?
I
And then it's like, what is their goal? How, like, who are they? And like, we can go from there.
I typically go with my character building. I usually start at two different points at the same time, which is weird. It's I want to play this class or this kind of build or this type of thing. That's what I
Mhm.
want to play. And at the exact same time, I'll be going, this is a character idea that I want to play. And okay, now let's expand upon that character. Why are they like that? Uh, who are they related to? What drove them to be this person? And build it from the main idea and work your way backwards to building up the character. And then I go through, will this character idea work with this build? And like, does it work? Like, no. Okay, what can I change so I can work with them together? Or I'll just hold on to the character and then build something else for the build, or I'll pick another class that I think fits it best. It's like with Magnus, my surly Scottish wizard that I haven't played on
Who
the
I
show.
have never played with.
Yeah, the idea concept was I want to play a Scottish wizard. That's it. I want to play a Scottish asshole who's a human who's just a bad, terrible, just kind of an asshole all around. But that was the idea to start with. I want to be a surly Scottish person. And I also really want to play an abjuration wizard. I was like, okay, those are both the two ideas. And
Those
like,
are pretty
okay,
unique.
why is Magnus this complete asshole? Like, because he thinks he's better than everyone? That's typical wizard stuff. Why does he think he's better than everyone? And I start building the way back, and I've went to the backstory of him, and like he's from this wizard type village that's from a secluded island that was kind of a cult thing that survived off of magic, but they were like sacrificing prodigies to this magic devouring thing they called a god. In reality, it wasn't. So Magnus found out about that, decided he didn't want to be part of the cult anymore, and everyone was kind of brain controlled, or they're corrupted already with their mindset. So there's no saving them, and they're all terrible people, and they're responsible for killing every person who's ever died on the island. Essentially, has died for this reason. And I was like, well, they can't be saved. So eventually, during his other parts of his backstory, he had killed his entire family. He had killed them. Everyone on the island, they're all dead because of what he did. Because he was like, there's no saving these people.
And that can become a bitter
It's like,
Uh,
so it's that, and then that launches the disconnection of, okay, now he has that in his background. How does that affect how he interacts in certain situations? So when he goes and finds people that have issues with their families and whatever, he's like, oh, that's an interesting take on how a family should work. I'd have never seen that from my perspective. Why are you so emotionally attached to these people? Like, oh, because not everyone's a complete asshole. That's weird. So I just kind of observing is what he would do in those situations. Then you just think about how your character is and just make up scenarios and like how would they react in situations until you have a good concept of who this character is entirely in the being. You might not have their cousin's name because you don't know it. You didn't think of it. It's not something you go through, but you know how they would answer a question because you have that mindset of how that character works now. And then I put the Abjuration Wizard with him because that's his specialty when he was in where he was growing up. And it was the idea of solely canceling out magic because he doesn't like magic. He thinks magic is corruption and evil because he saw what it did to everyone he was around. I was like, well, be an Abjuration Wizard. He specialized in it. He hates magic. Abjuration's great at stopping magic. He's like, cool. Now I have this character built. And that was it. Slap them together. And you could take that same character and make them a sorcerer. You can make them a bard. You can make that. It's just what fits for what you're trying to do.
that makes sense.
So when you get ideas of like playing Gander, what was the concept of starting that?
Uh, the concept of starting that was very smart inventor who is socially very coarse, does not interact very well, doesn't take social cues, and is afraid of the world, but also has a bit of uh, wanting to see it to learn what is out there. So that's why he had the like going overseas and leaving the Spire was good, but also he did not know that he was going to get banished.
Got kicked out of school.
Yeah. Um, and I I'm going to be honest here. I think I made a bad call. I think I we were just hitting a stride of breaking Gander out of coward mode,
Well,
and I feel really bad about abandoning Gander.
don't worry. He's building a laundromat or something. I like
He
there was like a lot to Gander that wasn't as obvious because of how like just interactions go. It seemed more like a character who was curious about how the world works, but was also kind of timid and like I don't want to touch the stove because I know it's hot. But how hot is it? So I need to be near it at least. And like, oh, I'm really close to this very hot stove now. I don't want to be near this hot stove anymore. It's a kind of towing the
I
line of
understand.
how close you want to get to the danger and realizing you're too close now.
Yeah, and like I think who were we fighting? We were fighting a hobgoblin
Yes, we
who
were
had
fighting a
the
whole bunch of them.
yes,
Y'all were getting
and I
your
used the
shit,
flamethrower,
the Flammenwerfer.
which is had I never really used before. It's always been the cannon, but it's just like I've always used the cannon that I figured out I could make, and it's like shoot the cannon, miss, shoot the cannon, block, shoot the cannon, miss. Well, the cannon's not working. So you know what? What's this do? Fire.
Let's see you dodge a cone.
Can you dodge the flamen that is verved?
It involves the Flammen at you. And even like characters like Calum that we see, Killmonger is not a very charismatic person, but he tries to project a lot of stuff out. It, we don't know much about his character still, other than we've met a few of his family members or his adoptive family.
That's what I'm really bad at. Is I expect because I have a charisma score that is higher than most that I will be able to uh, present myself that way.
And all that's also the idea of like how do you perceive your stats? Charisma is so many different things as far as like intimidation, persuasion, and just those certain abilities. Uh, in just intimidation alone, like your charisma score is used to intimidate. Well, a gnome bard intimidating someone is going to throw so many insults and so many words at this person through just this threats that
Yeah, like he's
confuse
able
you. Like
to.
there's this guy's clearly unhinged, where a charisma paladin intimidating someone would they just project themselves and carry themselves a certain way that just them standing there could be intimidating.
Yeah, like Telmac's big, in full plate, big sword,
Yeah,
line man.
your charisma is more of a authority that you carry with you, not necessarily your ability to speak.
Yeah,
It's
like bards, rogues could be wordsmiths.
and like Omlik was a paladin for that one. Kilmo's terrible when it was coming to that stuff, but he worked at it. But it was really most of a he's going to intimidate through his will of his being, not so much what he's going to say. Or he'll just punch them, which is also a good way.
Which he did
Yes, just
several
punch the
times.
crap out of somebody. It's not good when you're a lawful character.
Oh, you failed the persuasion test. Okay,
I
well, I'm
punched
going to persuade my fist to his chin.
right? And like lying with charisma is that's a little harder to say. Like, how do you do that? Like, it's you could say that your charisma in that case is just more way of stone facing an answer, so you're not giving a tell at least. It's not
Yeah.
you can tell that weave an intricate story. It's just your yes and no answers are like playing a game of poker. You're not giving any extra information, so it's harder to tell
Yeah.
if you're lying or not. That way, you're not stuck as you're high charisma. You need to make a speech now.
I think that's where I'm stuck. Is like
You
charisma
don't need to make a
equals
speech.
Tucker.
You don't need to make a speech. You just need. I would just say, present yourself at a strong stance. Like this is how you say few words that just seem to be carried with higher weight to them. That way, in your case, you just have to think of a few words to say, but utilizing your size and your build, that
Like
can
a
persuade
like
things.
a roll of 20 total of an intimidation could be me just getting right up to somebody and just saying no.
It's like you need to stop drinking, and you just say it straight faced, non flinching. Like that's an intimidation check. You said it's like 3 or 4 words. There's no speech involved. You just made the check. And just like a persuasion in the same situation is like if you don't leave, things are going to get way worse for you, and I would hate that for you. And like you're trying to persuade them, but it's more of like, is that intimidation or not? It's still using less words to get a point across.
I think charisma is still like the only thing I'm really hung up on like how does that translate to actual RP. But I think that advice helps. Is it's the charisma does not immediately make you into face speech giver like wordsmith.
Yeah, doesn't have to. And Olmec was ugly as crap. Like his face looked like ground meat. And he was not a looker, but his charisma was intimidating in its own presence.
There are some people that are able to
He's got the
pick up a
charisma
lot of
that-
ladies, and they just I don't know how they do it.
Oh, he's old. He's covered in armor. He's probably rich.
Telmac walking around, super shiny, probably rich.
And gullible. How's that insight?
It's not very good. It's a 10.
Oh boy. I think that's the same as mine. Shame.
I think the only wisdom person here is Yandere.
Yeah, that was our big hindrance before. Like
We don't have any wisdom.
Arthur was the wisdom character, and now Yandere is the wisdom character. Good. We need
Good.
wisdom.
Good, good, good.
We have
We need
no. You're the charisma character now, though. So.
Though we haven't really had to do. Now our DM is watching this, so we haven't had to do a lot of charisma checking, because we've really been able to talk it out.
Well, a check should really be used if it's in an unbelievable situation. If you're saying something that is obvious, is true or false, then there's no need for a roll. Like, oh, this is believable. Or if the player puts the effort into making a very elaborate and somewhat believable speech about something, probably shouldn't have the guy roll and then get a 2 and say, well, you said it amazingly, but they don't believe you. Like, thanks.
Or like,
time. That's when you do things like that. That tells the player don't put the effort anymore, because it's just going to come down to a roll anyway. So don't bother.
I think I've heard about instances like that where, like, if you give a good enough reason, they'll give it. But if the person doesn't want to really, and you give a really good answer, the DC will lower substantially.
Sometimes when I'm DMing and they have a statement or a speech, or they give a reasoning for what they're doing, I'll have them roll, mostly because I like having players roll. That roll doesn't mean anything. They can roll crap. It's like, if they roll really poorly, it's like, I just wanted to see you roll. You succeed, because I believe you should be rolling dice as much as possible. It's more fun that way. We have dice for a reason.
Yes. I wish I could punch these digital dice, though. If anyone would like to rewatch Tuesday's episode, I believe it is up today.
If you were Gander, you wouldn't have this issue.
No.
But you're not.
I am not a halfling. Lots of ones and twos.
Like it was like 3 ones in a row if you count the one that was the middle one you rolled, that we could have used in place of one of the rolls, but like it would have been 3 because you rolled a 1.
It was used. It was used for the perception check, I think, to hear the little bit of fighting.
Yeah, he was gonna have you roll, which you then rolled, and then I was like, why don't you just use this pre-rolled one? It's like, well, I was hoping it'd be better. He's like,
no. Then I was like, no.
He rolled a 1.
It's the same number.
It's the same price. Well, we're getting near the end.
Yes.
I would like to pose the ultimate question of, who is your vote on the Deadpool?
Deadpool?
Yeah.
Caleb.
Any particular reason why?
He's super soft, and he has not been in combat recently, so things have not been able to sneak up on him. So I think the DM thinks he is due for a sneak attack.
He's getting antsy, like I haven't hit Caleb in a while.
I haven't hit Caleb for a Caleb's worth of damage in a while.
Hey, that assassin ability that Volred used, that was pretty neat. What if I have a creature have that same ability? Styliate is power to do too. And it does 70 points of damage. Thanks. Fuck.
Okay, I'm down.
Not me.
Shield?
I would just like, oh no. I still have more hit points. I'm still good. Well,
but yes.
I can't be assassinated.
Just because of numbers.
No, it's one of my barbarian abilities.
Oh, you can't be surprised?
If I'm surprised, I can. If I go into a rage during the start of my turn, I'll be able to act normally. So I won't have the surprise condition when it gets to my turn, as long as I rage first during my turn.
Okay.
So, like, can't surprise me. As long as I'm conscious. Like, you can assassinate the shit out of me if I'm conscious. Like, that's
the bugbear.
Bugbear damn near assassinated me right there at the spot of the Morning Star, which was rude. And I just like that I got up and just did not appreciate it.
And there's Giant. Wasn't there a Giant?
It was like an ogre or something. It was big.
Yeah. It
Well,
was large.
I'm gonna need you to roll me that D percentile, please. And remember, there are no bad numbers, just bad people.
27.
27?
27.
27. For the next minute, all your spells with a casting time of 1 action have a casting time of 1 bonus action. That's pretty good.
Too bad I don't have any.
Yeah, you're paladin.
I have no
That means
cantrips.
It's all spells that have an action. So you can guiding bolt bonus action. Action
Oh,
smite.
because the actual spell has to be an action.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
I'm gonna look forward to using this rolling chart.
Yeah, you're gonna need it Saturday.
I want to roll all the time. Every chance.
Oh
I get.
no. You just cap prestidigitation just cause.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it was a D20 roll for if it's a leveled spell. Like, yes, let me roll. I'm a roll. All right, everybody. Thank you all for coming. I really have to go, and I hope you like watching my really crappy show. So please like, follow, and subscribe is what I'm supposed to say. But as always, we shall see you next Tuesday. Good night, everyone. Farewell.
Bye.
Bye. We miss you already. Come back with food.
Walking hand in hand on the ocean floor, down deep we wander. Louder we sing, no there is no cure in this together. I don't wanna tell you that it's not real. Nothing is a fairy tale. Everything about you is so unreal. It won't be pretty when it ends. Now how could I leave with your sweet love on me? Yeah, yeah. Something about you always makes it harder. When you got my lipstick on your white shirt collar. On the carnival till the rest go home. Now I only see you. Hearts and letters carved into the shore. We'll never grow old.